So today's video is about supplements, and there's broadly speaking two kinds of supplements. You have food supplements, and you have supplements that are used to enhance performance. So food supplements are substances that are normally found in food, and you might like a little extra, and that's why you take a food supplement. A performance supplement or an enhancement supplement is something that you take to increase your capacity in a particular field. It might be whether it's alertness or cognition or physical performance. So all of these things are enhancement supplements. I'm going to talk about just the food supplements today because that's what most people are going to benefit from. A performance supplement is not required for everyone, so that'll be for people who are more ambitious and who have extra demands. So a supplement is supposed to be extra. It's supposed to be on top of your basic. So the following video is under the assumption that your diet and lifestyle and recovery processes are all as perfect as you can make them, and the supplements are being taken on top of that. So an example I give for that is, it's like a building. When you make a building, the foundation and the structure needs to be strong to begin with, and only after the foundation and the structure are strong do you start considering the plastering and the finish of the walls and the paint on the walls. So supplements are like that. They are that last layer. The underlying structure needs to be strong, and for that your diet and lifestyle and recovery need to be on point. Now these supplements or vitamins or micronutrients, if you stop taking them in your food, you won't find a problem immediately. You'll have a latency period. What I mean is, if you stop taking vitamin C or B complex today, especially for B complex, if you stop taking vitamin B complex completely, your diet becomes very poor in B complex. Nothing is going to happen for maybe 1 or 2 years because your body will have stores for these things, and so you'll not realize that you have a deficiency in your diet, and this problem builds up slowly. And when it builds up slowly, because the processes in the body are starting to deteriorate slowly, you might not even realize that things are going wrong. So it'll become a part of your normal, and you'll get used to it, and you'll adapt to it, and 2 years down the line you'll actually become sick, but you'll still not realize it because the decline has been so gradual. So having this little extra insurance prevents that kind of thing from happening. So think of supplements as an insurance policy. Think of you driving as best as you can on the road, but in case things go wrong, you have a backup to fall upon. So that is your insurance policy. Most of these food supplements are micronutrients and vitamins and minerals that are used by the body for different enzymatic processes. So your body has a million different processes, million different reactions, and all of these reactions have a start point and an end point, and factors in between, cofactors. So if you wait for one factor in your body to change into something else that you need at its own pace, it might take too long, and so the body has ways to make that process go faster, and it does that by using catalysts or enzymes. And most of these supplements that we use are catalysts and enzymes. So I don't believe in using supplements for macronutrients like fat, carbohydrates, and proteins, which you take in large quantities. You should be taking from food. But your micronutrients, you might not be able to achieve that sort of level with just food. And there you might need a supplement. And these supplements are usually cofactors in your enzymatic processes that the body uses in a day-to-day basis. So how do you do this? Let me talk shortly about diet, because I said you need to optimize your diet, and the strategies that I use to make sure that I need the minimum supplementation is, one is intermittent fasting. So you try and avoid eating after sunset. You try and keep a 16-hour gap in between your dinner and the next day's breakfast. and this gives your gut a rest, and this avoids wasteful energy expenditure and enzymatic expenditure, so that you can use the food that you eat optimally. And so intermittent fasting is a very essential part of making sure that your diet is optimal, and that you're not wasting the micronutrients and the cofactors that you're consuming in food. So then the other strategy I use is a whole food diet. So you're going to use plants and animals. You're going to avoid processed foods, because processed foods are low in these micronutrients, they're low in enzymes, they're low in cofactors. So the more processed foods you eat, the more you're going to burn through the stores of cofactors and enzymes and micronutrients in your body. So avoid processed foods. The third thing that you can do is avoid grains and sugar, because grains these days are very high in energy but very poor in enzymes and micronutrients and cofactors. So the more grains you consume, the same thing happens, not to the same degree as a processed food, but it is a problem. Sugar, avoid sugar, because again it is something that has been stripped completely of its minerals and nutrients, cofactors and enzymes. So you are going to burn through your body stores in order to process that sugar. It goes the same for jaggery and honey too, because it's very very energy dense and not enough cofactors. So these are the strategies I use for improving my diet, so that I require the least amount of supplements. And the other thing that you can do is make sure that you get a wide variety of foods in your diet. So you have a omnivorous food pattern, so you have animals and plants on your plate. And if you need to go by if you need numbers, I would say your plate should be 50% plant material and 50% animal material, so that you get a wide variety of nutrients and you cover all your bases, and you don't end up with a selective micronutrient deficiency. So that is about your diet. Now when it comes to what happens, so why supplements? You need supplements now because more than you used to in the past, because we've got a poor quality diet. We're eating a lot more processed food. We are eating a lot more artificial flavoring and emulsifiers. And so this is putting a load on your digestion. This is putting a load on your enzymatic process in the body. So you do need those cofactors extra in order to deal with the poor quality food that you're eating. You have a poor quality environment now. So there's a lot of toxins in the environment. There's a lot of pollution in the environment. Your water is not as clean as it used to be before. So you'll need to deal with those toxins. And that again needs most of these cofactors and enzymes. And therefore you need these extra supplements. You're not resting enough. And if you're not resting enough, your body has to work harder in order to repair the damage you're doing. And there is a lot of wastage of these enzymes and cofactors and micronutrients. And stress management. In the past, we used to have a spike of stress and it used to go down. Now you've got constant stress and it never seems to go down. So that's again part of the rest factor that I said. But again, so this is why you need supplements now. Now I'm not saying it is a must, but it is useful. Now, if you're taking supplements, it doesn't mean you take them blindly. You need to know what's in them. You need to take them in the right proportion, and you need to make sure that you're taking the supplements that are best suited for you. So what happens if your supplementation procedure, whatever procedure you're following to supplement, is not up to the mark? So supplements are not dangerous on their own. It's just that they can be made dangerous in the way you use them. So I'll give you examples. Now, vitamin D supplementation is well recognized now, and most people are already on vitamin D supplements. But if you take vitamin D without taking enough B complex, what happens is you end up with consumption of whatever B complex stores you've got in your body. And if you don't have enough B complex in your diet, you're going to consume whatever B complex you already have stored, and you're going to end up with a B complex deficiency. So you're doing vitamin D supplementation for a good thing. Your doctor is giving you vitamin D, But if you don't have enough B complex, you're going to end up in trouble. So that was just an example. Or for example, if you're taking calcium supplementation, so you need the calcium to stay in your bones, but instead, and it needs to be in your teeth. Now if you get a lot of calcium but you don't have enough vitamin D and K, you're going to end up with that calcium getting deposited in soft tissues, and you're going to get stiff. Your artery walls are going to get stiff, and you're going to get a higher risk of cardiac disease. So when you're taking calcium, it will also be useful if you take vitamin D and if you take vitamin K. And for example, if you take a lot of calcium and you have a very inflammatory lifestyle, you have a very inflammatory diet, that inflammation itself can cause the calcium to get deposited in the soft tissues of the body and cause trouble. So this again goes back to the other advice I'd given you, saying you need to get your diet and lifestyle optimum. That is your foundation. Without doing that, blind supplementation is not going to help, and sometimes it can backfire. So all of these micronutrients, all of these minerals and vitamins, they work like a factory assembly line. So one guy in a factory assembly line, you have a long line of people standing there, and one guy does his job, he finishes his part of the job, and he hands it over to the next guy, and then he works and he hands it over to the next guy. What happens if the first guy is working too fast and the other guy, the next guy standing next to him, is not working, or if he's not there even, or if he can't handle the super efficient first guy? So that will mean that the product that he's worked on and handed over starts to accumulate in the assembly line, and it starts to spill over. It causes new damage, it causes new accidents in that factory assembly line. So this is what happens when you supplement badly, when you supplement thoughtlessly. So you do need, when you take a supplement, you probably will need cofactors along with those supplements in order to make sure that you don't have that sort of a problem. So some supplements are safer than the other because your body can tolerate those supplements and an excess of that supplement better. Some supplements are not safe, so you'll have to talk to your healthcare professional, your doctor, to find out which is good for you and which is not. Now, according to each person's individual genetic makeup and his lifestyle, their ability to handle supplements or their necessity for extra supplements will vary. So each gene will code for a particular enzyme, and each enzyme that comes out of a gene is then going to have increased activity or decreased activity depending on which gene it was and how that gene has been activated. Now, if your gene has produced an enzyme that is super efficient, then you'll probably not need much of the, you'll need to adjust your micronutrient supply or your cofactors according to that enzyme's function. So, and that can be found out by genetic testing. In India, we don't have genetic testing for enzymes like MTHFR done properly right now. It's not very accessible for us right now, so we don't have that luxury yet in this country. But sooner or later, it is going to start, and then you'll be able to personalize your supplementation regimes even better than what we are able to do today. Right now, what we are using is using signs and symptoms of the patient to supplement and do our best. But when we reach a point where genetic testing of your enzymes and your methylation processes and your detoxification processes, all of that starts to become more and more widely available and more affordable, then we are going to be able to supplement even better. So that is coming in the future. This is the last part of the video. I'm going to talk about which supplements most people will need. So most people will need vitamin D, most people will need B complex, most people are going to need a good omega-3, so fish oil supplements. Everyone is going to need magnesium supplements because the food quality is that poor. Everyone needs vitamin C because we don't eat enough green leafy vegetables, we don't eat enough fruit, we don't eat enough plant material. And And vitamin C is very heat labile, and we are heating our food to a very high degree, and the vitamin C is reduced. Our food supply chains are very long. The food is not fresh, so the longer it stays on the shelf, your vitamin C levels come down. So vitamin C is something else that everyone needs. Then you have the micronutrients like zinc, selenium, and chromium, copper, molybdenum. So all of these micronutrients, especially zinc and selenium, have been popularized during COVID times. But you also need to think about copper and molybdenum and chromium. Now, all of these micronutrients you need in very small quantities, and you can take them once in a while, and your body will store them pretty well so that you can use it in times of uh, extra need. Um, and the final supplement that I would like to talk about is a probiotic. Now, there are people who advise probiotics in the form of capsules and tablets and liquids that you get from a pharmacy. But I would prefer that you make your own probiotics at home. And curd is not the optimal probiotic. You have to start thinking in terms of probiotics like kefir, kvass, kombucha, and kimchi. All of things that you can make at home. You get live starter cultures from various shops. Once you start using them, you'll learn and you'll have to do better. Now, I will not be talking about how to use these supplements because it is a complicated process, and I would like you to talk to your doctors about them. And I would like you to educate yourself about these supplements in depth before you go to a doctor, because it is, you can't go to a doctor and say I want a calcium supplement. You also need to know what else you're going to be taking along with it. I had given you hints on what you should be taking along with that calcium, but in a similar manner, every supplement that you take will also need cofactors. So so these things you'll have to educate yourself properly and then go to a doctor to talk. You shouldn't be taking anything blindly. You should be educating yourself and discussing it with your doctor before you start using them. Now, there are foods that are rich in certain micronutrients and in vitamins and minerals, and you should be taking more of them, but that again, that should be targeted. It shouldn't be blind. You should be, and you should be varying the intake of those foods appropriate to the demands that your body has. So this is a very wide topic. It's a very complex topic, and I cannot finish that kind of a topic in a 15-minute or a 10-minute video. So that we shall discuss each supplement or micronutrient on later videos depending on what your doubts are, and I hope to see those doubts in the comments. So if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.